All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Welcome. So today for you, I have definitive proof that Tim Walz broke Republican brains. I think you're going to enjoy that very much. We have a compilation of all the psychotic things that have been said about him and just how much the right is flailing. Interesting story about how J.D. Vance is linked to a company that has, and I quote, nightmare working conditions. We'll discuss in detail how the Trump magic is gone. He released a new ad on Twitter for his grand return to Twitter the other day, and it's honestly one of the worst political ads that I've ever seen in my life. Then we'll get to there's an MSNBC host who has a real dire warning for Kamala Harris, and believe it or not, I think she actually nails it, so we'll talk about that. Then we have the Groypers have declared war on Trump, and there's a very well-known populist Republican who has now turned on Trump and acknowledged, like, hey, man, this guy is a fake populist. He doesn't care about workers at all. So we'll talk about all that and more. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe. That's right below here. As I always say, I'm trying to get to 10 million subs, and it's going to take a long time, but you build it one at a time. So hook a brother up. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. So as you all know, Kamala Harris picked Tim Walz to be her VP. I was ecstatic about that. Not only is he the best possible VP pick, he was without a doubt the best governor in the country, and it's not even close. He has a phenomenal track record in Minnesota, doing actually based things that help working class people. So, look, Republicans did not know how to deal with this, and they didn't know how to deal with it because Tim Walz codes in a way that is completely unoffensive, right? This is a guy who hunts. This is a guy who fishes. This is a guy who's a union member. He's a teacher. He was in the National Guard for 24 years, right? So he looks like, like America's dad. He looks like America's dad. And he's one of these people that everybody who meets him says, I just like the guy, right? He's got that X factor. It's like, I just like him. He's just a nice guy. I just like him. And so this led to the right massively overreaching because they're desperately trying to find something that sticks. So of the things they try, you guys know this, one of the things they said was his nickname is Tampon Tim. Why? Because they claim he put tampons in the boys' bathrooms in school. That's a total lie, by the way. He did not. He signed a bill that did free tampons in schools, but it's in gender-neutral bathrooms, and it's in the girls' bathrooms, and it's held by the nurses. But it's a total lie that, the tampons are in boys' bathrooms. And then they tried to go with this whole stolen valor argument. That really crashed and burned, especially because Tim Walz retired 2 months before his unit was called up to Iraq. And as Jesse Ventura points out, what the fuck is the National Guard doing going to Iraq anyway? They're supposed to guard the nation. They're not supposed to be deployed overseas. Also, Tim Walz ran on an anti-Iraq war platform, so he was against the war. Why would he serve in the war that he was against? And they tried to say, hey, he said he saw combat and he didn't. He certainly implied that he saw combat, but what he did do, he wasn't in an active war zone, but what he did do is he assisted in Italy for the war in Iraq, where he was an expert in heavy munitions. So, I mean, that's the backstory. None of these things are landing. In fact, J.D. Vance did the same thing he accused Tim Walz of doing. J.D. Vance implied that he saw combat and he did not see combat. But they don't know what to do. They have no idea what to do. And it doesn't help that Walz is beating up on him regularly on the campaign trail. So here's a little compilation put together of right-wing media absolutely flipping out over Tim Walz. I think you're going to enjoy this.
He's like a fat, bald, stupid Genghis Khan.
Holy cow.
How are we supposed to even respond to that? He's a fat, bald, stupid Genghis Khan? What does that even mean? What? How's he like Genghis Khan? Oh, Jesus Christ, these guys are crazy. Okay, let's keep going. This is going to get good.
He's like a fat, bald, stupid Genghis Khan.
Holy cow. This guy is hard left.
Certainly he has been a far left radical.
This is a ticket that would want this country to go communist immediately, if not sooner. And I think it's very...
I mean, we covered that the other... I've been thinking about this quote ever since I heard him say it. He wants the country to go communist immediately, if not sooner. Like, what's sooner than immediately? Oh my God, this guy's amazing.
This is a ticket that would want this country to go communist immediately, if not sooner. And I think it's very insulting to Jewish people.
Walz, who has exhibited Marxist and almost Islamic behavior.
He's exhibited Marxist, if not Islamic behavior. Come on, Jim. Reel it in with the Islamic behavior, buddy. What are you doing here? What are you praying 5 times a day or something?
Exhibited Marxist and almost Islamic behavior. He changed Minnesota's flag to look basically like a Somali flag.
They're going to turn the entire Midwest into Mogadishu.
Someone who took...
Real subtle, by the way. Real subtle there, Stephen Miller. And these are the guys who would turn around and say, I'm not racist. Why would you say that? He's going to turn the Midwest into Mogadishu? Oh, my God.
They're going to turn the entire Midwest into Mogadishu.
Someone who took 30 trips to China and took students with him so they could be exposed to communist propaganda.
When were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage.
He went AWOL on his own unit.
But previously...
He abandoned his troops.
Okay?
A Harris Walz ticket is Make America Burn Again.
People with...
That's the other thing they tried to hit him with. It's like, oh, there were riots in Minnesota right after the George Floyd thing. And first of all, the idea that he wants rioters to burn down the Walgreens is hilarious. Second of all, you know who had very kind things to say about how Tim Walz handled that? Donald Trump. Donald Trump said, he did a great job. Everything he did, I would have done. And by the way, Tim Walz came out and said, peaceful protest, 100% on the side of them. They're perfectly allowed to do that. There's nothing we can do to stop it, nor should we be able to stop it. But we will stop anybody who commits crimes. We're gonna make sure justice is served. That's what he said. So there's nothing here. Nothing.
Love to mind their own damn business if you, asshole, hadn't let rioters burn down those businesses.
People were reported for doing things like playing basketball in their yard during COVID.
I saw my wife and I gave her a big hug and a kiss because I love my wife and I think that's what a normal person does. Tim Walz gave his wife a nice, firm Midwestern handshake. She has her little security blanket. Tampon Tim.
Walz will let doctors cut your kids' balls off while looters burn down your house.
He's a freak in sheep's clothing.
Walz will let doctors cut your kids' balls off. These guys are deranged, man. Look, I know they're obsessed with trans people, but it's gotten so dark, right? They really make it seem Democrats want to trans your kids, as if it's like this nefarious effort from the top down. We will change the genders. Are you kidding me? Guys, we went through the numbers the other day. Do you remember this? We went through the numbers. You know how many surgical interventions there have been for trans healthcare for young people? They make it seem like it's an epidemic and 30% of the country is going trans. You ready for this? About 800 in the whole country. You know how many minors there are? People under 18? 72 million. 800 have had some sort of trans procedure. And by the way, it's not bottom surgery ever. If it's anything ever, it's top surgery. And the number of people who take either hormones or puberty blockers, it's around 4,000. 4,000 out of 72 million. And they said, Tim Walz wants to chop your kid's dick and balls off. What am I supposed to do with these people? Guys, I need you to understand something. I want to be the guy having substantive political debates and disagreements. I want to be the guy talking about policy with the right and saying, look, here's why I think Tim Walz is a great guy and a great politician and a great character. And here's why I think you're wrong with your belief in tax cuts for the rich and deregulation. I want to talk about those things that matter to people, that are substantive, that will change lives. But here's the reality. We're spending all of our time combating the worst horse shit you've ever seen in your life. We can't even get to the conversation about policy because they're busy calling him Marxist Islamic or something and saying he wants to chop kids' genitals off. How am I supposed to engage with this? There's nothing you could do but mock it. There's nothing you could do but mock it. These are silly people. These are dumb people. These are smear merchants. That's what they are. And so if we're going to talk about policy, then look, the facts are the facts. And this is why you guys are melting down. And you know this is why you're melting down. Because you can't beat him. Because you can't beat him. He's the guy that did free school breakfast for kids. Free school lunch as well. He's the guy who did 12 weeks paid family leave and 12 weeks paid sick leave. He did legal weed. He did red flag laws for guns to make sure that if somebody's posting about how they're going to shoot up the school, you can legally take that person's guns. You want to take the other side of that argument? By all means, go right ahead. I'd love to see it. He's the guy who did free public college. He's the guy who banned forever chemicals and increased funding for K-12 schools. He's the guy who raised pay for nursing home workers and raised the minimum wage for small businesses. This is the guy who, when he was in Congress, was against bailing out Wall Street. He was against outsourcing deals. So you got nothing on them. You got nothing on them. And that's why you're melting down. That's why you're struggling so hard. But look, honestly, I love to see it. It's hilarious to me. And the more they shriek and the more they moan, I don't know if you've noticed this, there's a direct correlation. The more they shriek, the more Walz and Harris go up in the polls. So shriek away, weirdos. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.